Welcome to the Board of Adjustment and Appeals regular meeting. It's Wednesday, the 31st, down of Highland Beach. Okay. Would you be kind enough to silence all your cell phones and watches and devices, please? Can we start this meeting with a pledge of allegiance to the flag? All right, we need a approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
We need,
Okay. Is there a second? Thank you.
okay, excuse me, Madam,
All in
Vice
favor,
Chair.
say aye.
we need a roll call.
Okay, and we'll do the roll call. Okay. All right. Okay, I am here, Mr. Leeson. Leeson, thank you.
Oh,
Mr. White.
She'll do it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
okay. Member Harris Rosen, Member Michael Thorson, Member Weiss, Member Leanson, and Vice Chairperson Rosen.
Yeah.
And Chairperson Kell is absent. And Attorney Rubin and Town Planner Allen is present.
And the next on the agenda is swearing in of the public for those giving testimony related to the applications in the agenda. Please stand and raise your hand, and the elder will swear you in.
By the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, we need the approval of minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes of October 7th, 2021? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of October 7th, 2021? Okay, second. All in favor? Unfinished business, there's none. New business, vice chairman. Okay, then, all right, we welcome the new members of the board, which we listed. Welcome, you guys. Great last name. Okay. Yeah, that one I can do. All right, every year the board of members were required to nominate a chairperson, a vice chairperson, and a secretary to serve the position for 1 year. On June 9, 2020, Ms. Bonnie Patel was nominated as chairperson for the board and has served the position for the allotted 1 year time, sorry about that. 1 year term, which ends July 2024. Therefore, the matter is being brought before the Board of Discussion for the nomination of a chairperson for a 1 year term ending March 1. Are there any nominations for chairperson? I'll do it if nobody wants to do it. Okay. And so somebody has to nominate me.
Chairperson would have to have served for 1 year
Yeah, like,
on the board.
all right, so, okay, then would I accept as chairperson? Yes. So Fred Rosen has been nominated. Are there any motion to nominate? Sorry, your motions, the nomination. All right, can we have a motion to nominate Fred Rosen as chairperson? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. All right, vice chairperson. All right, on June 9th, 2020, Fred Rosen was nominated as vice chairperson to the board and has served the position for the allotted term. Mr. Rosen is eligible to be nominated. Therefore, the matter being brought before the board for discussion and nomination for a vice chairman. So I'd like to nominate a vice chairman. Okay, I'll nominate.
Can you please speak up?
Okay. Yeah. All right, so is there a second? Second? All
Okay.
in favor? Welcome. Okay, great. Are there any, okay, nominations? So I guess we have, we know we need a secretary as well.
Yes,
Okay.
the Board of Adjustment and Appeals, the secretary role.
It's low
Not that
pressure,
busy.
low pressure.
Okay,
pressure.
it's-
No
one of you
pressure.
gentlemen like to be secretary? Mhm. All right, we'll nominate. Second, second, we'll go- all in favor? Thank you. Okay. We'll get on to business. All right. Okay, the Board of Adjustment Appeals regular meeting, we have a secretary and that, okay.
So, yeah.
We have an application, number 23-2790, Frank and Laura Toriano. Consideration of application 23-2790 by Frank and Laura Toriano for a variance for section 30-103 D. And the section 3-64 of the Town Code Ordinance, create a lot with a minimum lot of which is 68.06 feet in lieu of the required 80-foot minimum width for a single-family dwelling in a residential multifamily low-density zoning district for the property located at 4611 South Ocean Boulevard, which is the west side of A1A. Do any board members have any communications to disclose? Mhm. Okay, at this time, the public hearing, we will turn this over to Ingrid Allen.
Good
Thank you.
morning.
Hi, Ingrid.
For the record, Ingrid Allen, Town Planner. I typically like to start the presentations with an aerial. I'm going to give you an overview of the staff report, which starts on page 19 of your packets for anyone that may be watching online or anyone here today. So let's look at that aerial. It's on page 27. Again, of your packet. If I can get it. It won't move for me. I don't know if you can maybe do it. Oh. Okay, so here's the subject property. Again, this is on page 27 of your packets. Oh, it's changing now without me pressing it. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, there we go. So the east side of the property, you could see it's zoned residential single family, and the corresponding future land use designation for the east side is single family. Keep in mind that every parcel has a zoning district and then a corresponding future land use designation. So the west side of the current parcel, you could see it's zoned RML, which stands for residential multifamily low density. And the corresponding future land use designation for that is multifamily low density. And I will say that it's not uncommon to have one parcel control number with two different zoning districts. And as you could probably see on the aerial, on the east side, there's currently a single family home. And according to the Palm Beach County property appraiser, that home was built in 1959. And on the west side of the current parcel, you could see it's currently vacant. Now on page 19 on the top, I provided two tables for you. That's basically showing you each portion of this current parcel and what properties are adjacent, what their zoning districts are to the north, to the south, et cetera. And again, their corresponding future land use designation. Now also in the staff report under the background subheading, I indicate that Ms. Toriano did go before the commission on May 16th of 2023 to request approval to divide the property. And the town commission's direction was to have staff attempt to develop language that would address this particular scenario. And then on July 18th of 2023, the town commission, at the town commission meeting, I should say, a memorandum was provided by the town attorney. A copy of that memorandum is on page 33 of your packets. And the commission agreed that the matter should go before the Board of Adjustment and Appeals via a variance application that would be obviously submitted by the property owner. So as was indicated earlier, the request is for a variance to create a lot on the west side of State Road A1A with a minimum lot width of 68.06 feet. So that 68.06 feet comes from the survey, right? And the requirement for the minimum lot width for the RML zoning district is 80 feet. So that's the variance. You go from 80 to 60 now, obviously, to create the lot. Now, I indicate on the bottom of page 19, we do have a code provision. It's section 30-103D as in David. It states that a division of any parcel shall not be made, which creates a lot which does not conform with the requirements of chapter 30. But again, as was discussed by the commission in July 18th, they gave the direction to have this item come before you. You all, the board, will make a recommendation to the commission, and the commission will be the final decision-making authority. On the top of page 20, I've gone ahead and provided you the density calculation, right? So this lot, according to the survey, the west lot, which they want to divide or create a new lot, is 8,187 square feet. So when you do the density calculation, the RML zoning district allows 6 dwelling units per acre. So you do the division and you come up with 1 unit, actually 1.13. So there's no such thing as a 1.13. So it's 1 dwelling unit. And according to the code, if you're going to have a single family unit in the RML zoning district, you have to have at least that 80 feet. And I do want to point out, because again, if you don't deal with zoning all the time, this, again, the west parcel is zoned residential multifamily, but the town code, the permitted uses table, allows single-family homes in a multifamily zoning district. So I want to make that clear. The single-family residents that are permitted in a multifamily low-density zoning includes attached single-family homes, detached single-family homes, and 0 lot line single-family homes. Obviously, you have to go get an approval for those, but they are permitted uses. Now, the code requires that the applicant comply with certain variance criteria. I provided those for you on page 20. The applicant has provided their responses to those criteria. Those are on page 23. I'll go now to the other maps here. Staff, I did do some analysis looking at other properties where we have a similar type of scenario. So we have 2 other properties in the town that, again, span across A1A. There's 1 parcel control number. Both of these properties have 2 distinct zoning districts, but these 2 properties, actually, there's a third one too. That third one is a little less, I think, than 100 feet from the west side parcel, but all 3 of them, they meet the minimum lot width. So if these properties came into the town tomorrow and wanted to split, they can do it. They wouldn't need a variance. But this property is different in that they don't meet the minimum lot width. So these are the maps. Again, these are provided in your packet starting on page 28. This is one of the examples, 3901. The east side is zoned residential single family. The west side is zoned RML. You could see I put the lot width is approximately 100 feet, which is in compliance with that particular zoning district. And then here's the other property, 2425. Again, you have, it's so dark, I can't see. I think it's RE is the zoning. Yes, RE, which is residential estate zoning on the east side, and on the west side, it's residential single family. The lot is approximately 100 feet in width, so they could split it tomorrow. It wouldn't have to come before you. And then the last property is that one where the parcel on the west side is a few feet south. Again, the minimum lot width for that parcel is 100 feet. And I also indicate in the staff report that per section 3040 of the code, that you'll need a vote of at least 4 members of the board or a majority, at least for the town commission to grant the variance. And I did put in the staff report that according to the code, a variance is good for 18 months. Now I'll defer to Mr. Rubin. He's going to elaborate on that given this particular request.
So, excuse me. This variance is a little unusual because generally, and I guess you guys haven't been here, but in the past, when we used to meet more regularly, generally they pertain to structures. So you're talking about reducing a setback or something like that. This variance has to do with the actual lot itself. It's the creation of the lot. So the way the code reads, it says it has to be implemented. That's the word that's used in the code within 18 months. From the town's perspective, if the variance is approved by the commission ultimately. And once the Troiano family completes that lot split with the county and has a new PCN, the town will consider it implemented. And then when the structure comes in, the structure will have to meet the code requirements. But as far as the variance, once the lot split is complete with the county, there's a new parcel ID number. The 18 months will be met.
Thank you. So I'll be happy to address any questions. We have the property owner here, Ms. Troiano, and her authorized agent. So be happy to, yes. Okay. Mhm. Right. No, well, yeah. actually, Your packets, the applicant provided a site plan, right? So this is a conceptual site plan. Right, the setbacks for the RML zoning district are 12 feet on each side. They're 40 feet for the front because for RML, if you're on A1A, you have to provide a 40-foot setback. Typically, it's 25. And in the rear, it would be 20 feet, which is, you could see they call out the footprint of the building. And on top of that, the RML has a maximum lot coverage of 30%. So the applicant, they have a proposed square footage that falls within the 30%. So you're-
Excuse me, please speak into the microphone so the public that's viewing online can hear you.
Could we possibly see a new owner coming in asking for a variance on side setbacks?
Sure. I mean, anyone could come and submit for a variance. If you're a property owner, you have the ability to submit for a variance. You have to show a hardship. Whether it gets approved or not, that's something else. Right? So when they develop it, they sell and they want to develop it and they can't meet this setback, they'll have to come before the board to get a variance and you will determine whether they're consistent with the criteria. They have to show the hardship.
So 12 feet under that current zone?
RML, correct, for the
Yeah.
side. The side setback is 12 feet.
Right.
Yes.
If the variance is granted, are they limited to the structure they're proposing here in this package, or can they do something different?
Well, as you can see, this site plan is a conceptual site plan. This, we would obviously need a more detailed site plan. So they provided here the square footage, as I said, that meets the maximum lot coverage. Obviously, when you submit a site plan, there's a lot more detail. We need tabular data and all that. There's a lot of different requirements for a site plan. So,
But yeah, my question really pertained to, it says a two-story building. Would
Uh-huh.
they be able to build a 10-story building?
no, the maximum height in the RML zoning district is 35 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Would they be able to build a multi-unit, a multi-residential unit?
No, based on
Yeah.
the density calculation that I referenced in the staff report, they can only get one unit based on the lot size of that portion of the parcel.
you.
Yeah. The density speaks for itself. It is what it is, one unit. You can't, but it's when you have that 8,187 square feet, that's all you can do. Unless the town changes the density. That's a big feat, yeah.
So just for clarification, this application is strictly for the lot on the
Right.
west side?
Right, that's correct. To create a new lot,
Yeah.
that's a non-conforming, right?
Is the lot on the east side non-conforming?
Well, obviously they don't meet the lot width, but, they have an existing home on the parcel. So typically, and Mr. Rubin can correct me if I'm wrong, but, given they have a home on that parcel, if they wanted to redevelop that home, they wouldn't necessarily have to get a variance because they're already a legal non-conforming lot. And you don't have to get a variance for something that already makes you the non-conformity. Is that correct, Mr.
That's
Rubin?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
But they could not build outside of the existing foundation, is that correct?
The property on the east side, I mean, I don't have, they have to comply with the land development regulations, period. If they decided to redevelop, they have to comply with the residential single-family land development regulations, whatever they are. Yeah. Yeah, they can't just build whatever. They have to comply with the property development regulations for that particular zoning district.
Well, I see that there's nobody here, objecting to the variance request, right? I mean, it's,
I did not
Oh.
receive any letters, any public comment from anyone. Sometimes people can't make the meeting and they call me and I'm like, send me a letter. If you would like, we could put it in the record. I haven't received any call or email from anyone on this particular item.
Okay,
And everyone within 500 feet of this property did receive a notice. That's per the requirement of the code.
okay,
Public
thank you.
hearings.
Yeah, I walked around the property and I mean, there's just, doesn't interfere with anything around that area, so.
Did you maybe want to call the property owner or?
Would you like to come up? And put you.
If you do or don't want to add anything, it's up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laura?
Laura Troiano.
Yeah, so I met with the commission back in 2023, just suggesting that, we wanted to be able to parcel split. That's really just been our whole goal all along. And Ingrid did a really great job showing how the lot is, that we actually, it's the right size to be able to build a structure on it. Our goal has always been eventually to put a family residence on it. Then we have 4 kids, we're trying, they're getting married, they have a grandson now, all that kind of stuff. And a home across the street, we've been there for 35 years. My husband's father bought it in 1956, so it's been a family home for a long time. And we have other things here too. So anyway, we just saw that the property was there, vacant forever and ever and ever. And we actually we were thinking we wanted to see what we could build on it. And then we found out that it was a one lot. We always thought it was a separate lot. Because when you look at the parcel, record card for the county, it shows like it's 2 separate lots and it's zoned differently. So in our minds, we were thinking that's what it was, but then we found out that's really what it wasn't. And so that's why I went in front of the commission to see if we could split the parcel. And that's basically where we're at today. Kind of a simple thing, and it's so easy, actually, as long as you have a decent survey. It's a 1-page document called the parcel split request. You fill it out. The attorney for the town writes a letter that says the town permits it. You give it over to Jose Avilo, who's the guy at the county, and then he takes care of it. And then you get a new PCN number, you get a new address. They decide how much more taxes you're probably going to pay, and then you just move forward.
Great.
Anybody have any questions?
The only comment I have, I looked at the other 2 lots in town that did comply. I'm a neighbor. I walked through around the lot. I looked there. I tried to find any reason to say no. I can't see any. I just, it doesn't interfere with anything or anybody, and these people have
What's
been
behind
members of
this
the
is
town
it's
for a while,
pool
so,
house,
yeah.
some tennis courts, a chain link
Right,
fence.
right. And there's a lot of trees
A
back
lot
there.
of, well,
too.
and eventually those will probably come down. So if anybody has any visual, unable to see, they'll be able to see more because
Right.
those trees are probably taller than any structure that we could actually put on that lot.
Right.
Which says, one resident. So
Great.
it actually improves things, I think, by being able to, and it's in keeping with what's happening in the whole town of Highland Beach. The other use would be that you could do an accessory, would be like a tool shed. I don't think anybody in Highland Beach wants a tool shed. And I don't either, so, anyway, so that's what that,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
okay, all right.
All right, is there any other public comment that anybody has? Any other comments from the board? Okay, the public hearing would be closed. Is there a motion, I believe, to either exclude the variance or not? Would somebody like to make that motion?
I make a motion to grant the variance.
I'll second the motion. And all in
Just for
favor?
clarification, it's a recommendation at this. point.
Right, this will go to the
Recommendation to
commission.
approve.
All in favor?
We have
Uh,
to
we're
do a
gonna
roll,
roll
we do a
call.
roll call vote.
Okay.
So member Harris Rosen
Aye.
and Chairperson Rosen,
Aye.
member Weiss, member Leanson,
Aye.
and member Thornton.
Aye.
The motion carries. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank you,
everybody.
thank you. We do have some announcements.
Well, we're gonna do a little orientation first.
Oh, okay.
So I think Linelda passed out to you. There's a little packet. We're just gonna do a little government in the sunshine law. It's a
Mhm.
refresher for some of you, for some of you, it might be new, but I'll try to keep it brief so y'all can get on with your day. But anyway, this board actually has final decision-making authority. So even the advisory boards are subject to the government sunshine law, but this board on certain variants does have final authority. So this is a decision-making board. So the government of the sunshine law, it's a statute. It's somewhat unique to Florida, but the whole purpose is to ensure open government, ensure public participation in the government operations. It applies to whenever two or more members of the same board discuss a matter that may foreseeably come before the board for action. So the gist of it is anything that concerns an application that's going to come before this board needs to only be discussed at this meeting. There cannot be any private communications among the board members about an item that may, and it's even if it's a future application that has been discussed, if it may foreseeably come before this board for official action, you cannot have any private discussions. And those discussions include by any medium, phone, email, text, whatever whatever it may be, you cannot discuss board business outside of this meeting. And that also includes before the meeting. So sometimes you get here and you review the agenda and you want to start talking about stuff. Please don't wait until the meeting actually starts. Once the meeting is concluded and your business is done, if you want to have a little rehash, that's okay, but please don't discuss it before. Please don't have private discussions on the dais. Sometimes, you want to talk to whoever's sitting next to you. Anything that you say needs to be heard by the members of the public, needs to be heard by the applicant, should be on mic. So please don't have any private discussions, and it may be something you should refrain from private discussions, period, because it might be like, it's sure cold outside today, but it's just a perception issue. So anything you say really should be on the mic during the course of the meeting. I kind of skipped over. There are actually 3 requirements for the sunshine law. It's that the meetings must be open to the public and public must have notice in the minutes, but those are functions that the town generally takes care of. And just because you're on the same board doesn't mean you can't socialize together. Some of you might be friends in real life, and that's fine. As long as you're not discussing board business, there's no issue. You can attend meetings of other boards and speak. That's not a problem. You can always talk to staff. You can talk to me. You can talk to Ingrid, the manager, Linelda, whomever. Any member of staff, that's fine. You can talk to any member of the commission. You can talk to members of the commission because you're not on the same board. It's just the other members of your same board. You can have inspection trips, and I believe, Chair, you said that you went to the property, and that's okay, but you should go separately. Don't go together, because if you go together, again, there's that tendency to discuss things before. A corollary to the sunshine law is if you're here, you have to vote unless you have a voting conflict. So sometimes votes are uncomfortable because it might involve a neighbor or somebody that you know. That's always going to happen, especially in a smaller town like Highland Beach. But unless you have a benefit or a detriment that's special to you or a relative or a business associate, you must vote even if you know the person, or it might be uncomfortable because it's a neighbor or whatever the case may be. Well, if it's a neighbor, we'll talk about that. But if you ever have any issues about voting conflicts, you could always call me. The number's on the materials I provided you, and I'm happy to talk to you about it. The sunshine law is a pretty serious thing. There are potential criminal violations. I don't want to scare you all, but just know that that's, it's an important thing to keep in mind. And every member of every municipal board is essentially subject to the Sunshine Law. So just the takeaway is any discussions regarding board business need to take place at the hearing. So if you remember that, you should be fine. I also included in your backup some public records law. People kind of get the two confused. They're two separate things. Public records has to do with documents that are created during the course of business. The only way the public records issue would apply to you, if you receive communications from residents or from whomever that's regarding a matter that's before the board, that's part, that you're receiving in the capacity as a board member, it is a public record. So it needs to be retained. I suggest that if you receive emails or whatever, or texts or whatever, you might want to just give them to the clerk's office, because the clerk's office, that's what the clerk does. They're very adept at public records management. I don't know how many you're going to get or whether it's really going to be an issue, but just know that if you receive communications regarding an application that's coming before the board, it is a public record. And again, I suggest you just forward it to the clerk, because that way it'll be retained, and because there's a whole retention schedule for public records. You have to maintain them for a certain amount of time. What else did I want to cover? Oh, and I just included some stuff on parliamentary procedure. It's just basic, but some of you might have been part of boards, some of you may not. And just, there must be a motion, there must be a second, then you're recognized by the chair. And then you have discussion. Generally, each person will get to discuss one at a time. The whole purpose is to allow everyone to have their say. If there's an amendment, you can amend the main motion, but if that happens, I'll guide you through that process. Not a problem. And then once everyone's had a chance to discuss, you'll vote on the motion, just like you did today. There was a motion, a second. We didn't really have any discussion because I feel like you had all your discussion during the presentation with the applicant, and then you had your final action. So do you have any questions? Anybody, any questions? That was sort of a brief synopsis. Hopefully I'll get to see y'all more often, because I mean, this board used to meet a lot, and all of a sudden, we haven't met for years, but,
Yes.
and I love this stuff. I love land use stuff. This is sort of my thing. So I'm happy to talk about it anytime, but seriously, if you have any questions, feel free to call me and I'd be happy to take your call. Oh, sure. What? Yes. Okay. I will tell you, and I actually brought that. So it used to be that the board had final authority on variances, but then the code was changed by the commission. So this board has final authority on requests for new and existing single-family homes and for existing multifamily units. So those are the ones. So if that lot that we were talking about, they were coming in to build a home and they wanted a variance, or they were requesting a variance, a side setback variance or whatever, this board would have final authority. This case that you just heard was a little bit unusual. It had to do with lot dimension. And because it's not one of those delineated items, it still has to go to the town commission. But Ingrid is great, and her staff reports are great. I don't want to downgrade you from good to great. And she'll let you know what type of variance it is. It'll always be in your staff report, whether it's a final decision or it's a recommendation. And that's all I have. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And yes, the state of Florida and the county of Palm Beach and the town does take sunshine laws very seriously. And also I wanted to thank Ingrid, because she's great. If you have any questions and you really, need some guidance on stuff, she's terrific and available. We do have some announcements on February 1st, which is really important to talk to as many people as you can. We have a county meeting here at 6 o'clock at the library to talk about Milani Park and the impact on Highland Beach, which will be substantial. So if you have neighbors or friends that would like to come, that would be really important. On February 6th at 1:30, we have a town commission meeting. February 7th, we have a natural resource meeting, Preservation Advisory Board. And on February 13th, code enforcement regular meeting. And on February 20th, the town commission. Unless anybody has anything else to say, somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
I second the motion. All in favor? Aye. Done.
The
Thank you, guys.
motion is adjourned at 10:04.
Thank you.